interesting, you know? So hang on. This time there's not going to be a big introduction, but we're live. And the way I'm going to get right into this is happy Sunday, everybody. First things first, the legalese. Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed by guests appearing on Equine Advocacy Alliance live streams are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the views, positions, or policies of Equine Advocacy Alliance. We are not responsible for any statements, claims, or opinions made by our guests. Our guest, again, is Alice Allen. Alice, what's going on?
How are you, Mike?
Now, the way I'm going to introduce this is in my own special way. Two things I want to do. First, Howard Taylor shitting his pants. How's that?
You couldn't get any better than that.
Now, how can you imagine? The reason Alice is on today is she's the one now that's really doing the digging on this. I've been trying to turn away from harness racing, as you know. But you know, you can't help it. We got to follow this through. So there's been more information. So through the week, Alice has been supplying me with some more stuff that she's found that's been like released within the last few days regarding Howard Taylor, his battles with Delaware, India, you know, all that, his licenses, commissions, and the Goral thing. But what I want to get across is just reading what I'm reading. This guy, who hasn't he tried to sue or subpoena? The judge himself, right? He is going after anyone, basically screaming. His claims are that any evidence that may incriminate him or find him culpable in what people have accused him of, and now he's being punished for, should be eliminated. And nothing that might hurt him in court should not be admissible. Is that a pretty good description of what Mr. Taylor's trying to do? Alice,
Well,
go ahead.
Mike, I tell you what, the easiest, I guess so, but the easiest way to explain it, and if you just got a few minutes, we'll try to go through this.
Well, the first thing after you get done, I'm going to read that text conversation between Lisa Ranger at the time and Seth Fishman.
Well, some of these I think you can pull up, but everybody on here knows the original indictment in count one that everybody pled guilty to. And it says the known and unknown defendants were on a corrupt scheme to manufacture, create, purchase, distribute, transport, sell, and administer mislabeled, adulterated PEDs. Right. The key to me there is I devoured the transcripts. And is the unknown defendants. And it so happened to be, and it's in ECF 836 on page 197 and 198. It came about the forensic accountant Rubino was testifying, and there became a government stipulation, and Howard Taylor's name became introduced. And so there was two exhibits, the government stipulation and exhibit 16,000.
Now, for everyone to understand, 16,000 are the invoices that he provided to the government, his own invoices that I've shown and basically released to anyone that were unaware that they existed. Right, all the invoices with his check numbers, his first wife's writing, all that, correct?
That
he says
16,000, and all these horses, drugs they got that they were for,
right?
And so
and
made this
and the partners
intriguing because, as everybody knew, that Cape Northern Virgin and the New Jersey Racing Commission with Nick Zurich that Taylor, Geraldo, and Ford were there on behalf, representing Zurich. So all I kept doing was reading and reading and reading. And every time I saw an exhibit, you write it down. It's introduced in trial. You just, you can request it.
Now, Alice, can I stop you just for a second to remind people of his assertions here that he didn't know, but while he was representing Nick Zurich in the NJRC hearing of 2018, he was in fact purchasing the same stuff that Zurich was being accused of using on Northern Virgin.
Oh, 100%.
Well, that's my point. At the same time, he was doing business with, and we have all the invoices from 2018 of his purchases for all his horses, that while at the same time he's representing someone for using the stuff who's been accused, later he says that he doesn't know what the stuff is, when in fact he was representing Zurich, and at the same time he was purchasing the same kind of garbage for himself.
100%. But what's crazy is, so just to make long story easier, you know, got 16,000 and named all his partners, how much they own, named his mother, named Dylan Davis, Shay. So these are pretty scathing records.
Well, let me read that so people understand who haven't seen this one particular item. Okay?
Yes.
This is a text conversation between Lisa Ranger in 2016 and Seth Fishman. Hey, this is Lisa Ranger. Hey, I have a bit of dilemma on what to do with a guy in New Jersey that trains horses for Howard Taylor. The fact that he's in New Jersey and I don't particularly care for him, but I don't want to piss Howard off. What do I do? She goes on. Only thing he asked for was EQ1 at 5. For anyone that doesn't remember, that's the mimetic morphine. That's what the lead investigative agent said is 1,000 times more powerful than actual morphine. Correct, Alice?
That's 100%.
Let me finish. He's stabled at Winners International, one of the biggest farms in New Jersey. Seth Fishman responds, who is trainer and how does he know about EQ1 at 5? You can, and then he tries to finish, but she responds, Tom Shea and Howard told him. The guy that doesn't know anything about anything. In 2016, Seth Fishman responds, you can explain to Howard that we cannot furnish pre-race to customers who are not regular clients. Can we jump and say that Howard's considered, remember what he says that in trial, Seth Fishman, that he only deals directly with VIP clients, and Howard being one of them.
He only deals with the trusted client.
Right. And then now Howard is trying to get this stuff for Tom Shea.
Right.
Who is, am I to assume that Tom Shea was training for Howard at the time?
Yes, he still does.
Okay.
he still does.
See, I really don't pay that much attention anymore. But go ahead.
But he's still training. But getting back, we'll go to that exhibit, 16,000. He gives his partners, his trainers. And then I kept get the exhibit and the who got report and who got BB3. That was a report on 4/18/22.
And that again, as you go along, Alice, I want to remind people of what this stuff is. The Who Got report is the report of people who purchased BB3. And that was the one that they're more familiar with, where Nick DeVita bought 52 bottles.
Yeah, there's a couple Who Got reports. The Who Got report for TB7. Who Got report for BB3. So I think somewhere thereafter, they issued a ban on all these people because this evidence, it's out, public record. And so that hearing was going, the indictments were there, trials were done. But what was interesting for me, there in June 26, 24, it was introduced into trial. It's called SFX 18,000.
No, wait a minute. You got to be, so people understand. You're talking about a trial in 2024?
No, I said no. Filed on PACER
Okay.
on June 26, 24.
Okay. Now I know what you're talking about.
It is a 5,000 page exhibit.
That's the one is that where Fishman turned in his records?
Yes, he turned in the invoices.
So people understand is what I'm trying to tell you.
It all came in government forfeiture in March 22. And they talk about this 5,000 page document of the highest repetitive purchasers. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, in that account is the same account number, or there's invoices in the same account that Taylor used to count 705, the same account that's shown in government exhibit 16,000.
Right.
And it shows that account 705, Taylor's account, names all the horses. He was using these drugs. Horses like Ginger and Fred, Haley Taylor, this JKR You Better, Ringside Muscle. That JKR You Better and Ringside Muscle were getting EQ 1 of 5 all the way back in 2012. So imagine the edge that he had on this business. That you're allowed to use morphine all the way back to 2012.
2012.
Yes.
Right.
To all the way through to the indictment.
I remember another horse in particular that we talked about that had a laundry list of purchases that was on fire at Yonkers in 2017, 2018?
That had to be Hemi Sealstar.
Yeah,
right?
Hemi Sealstar. And the reason that sticks out is, if I'm correct, that's when they were racing the odd distances on Sundays. It was they call it, what was it, France Day? Right?
I believe so.
And I know who was driving that horse because I got the report on that horse every day on his way home, saying that he figured out how to win those races with that horse. Just leave him on the outside and wait. He would park him every week.
Well,
I won't say.
You can't pull him up.
Huh?
You can't pull them up. You know, they just keep going.
Well, my point is, I knew personally the driver who was, at the time, I said, you drove like an idiot and the horse just made you look good. All right. It was my point. But,
well,
this is how people across the board benefit from this, which we're going to go into when we talk about that total purchase list that you just sent, that I just got, that with the total amounts for the what year is that again?
2016.
2016. You're not going to believe this. And I'm looking in the cameras. I'm talking to the camera. So people, the more that I see these things, I can't tell you how sickening it is.
Well, I just thought to stay on subject because I'm not quite as shocked as you, but I love to read. So I kept reading. There was an exhibit file that they introduced in the first of the trial, and heck, it was like called 3,500. So there's like almost, I guess, 3,500 exhibits. That's what I thought. So there's an exhibit there that GX 3461. I think it's from GMLE to Howard Taylor.
You're better off just saying, yeah, explain to people, because that's all Greek to everyone. We get
Okay,
the
this,
we
it's
get
a
the idea.
government exhibit.
Yeah, just say, but ex, I want from now on, I want people to understand what it is. You know,
Well, it's an email chain, a government exhibit. To Howard Taylor, wanted to know who owns Spider Blue Chip. And oh, by the way, pay your bill for $10,876.19.
okay. So now let me ask you, because you sent me a single email. Are we talking about Ventriglio's bill?
No, this one is Howard's bill. They wanted to know who owns Spider Blue Chip. It's
Oh, okay. All right.
government 3461.
Okay. Because in some of the stuff, you also sent me an email yesterday from Lisa Ranger.
Yeah.
About, it said its subject is Ventriglio's bill. He is shady and will try to get out of this any way he can. Howard Taylor knows him well.
Yeah. And that's funny because that's in 2011, I think. And they're trying to collect Ventriglio's bill. And I think it was Ventriglio's acquaintances, girlfriends, that got indicted as well. So it all comes full circle. You know, it all comes full circle.
So now let's try to, I think everyone understands.
Well, what I'm trying to say, Mike, and it just becomes real apparent to me, and then I'll let you finish up with a few of those exhibits. You know, Taylor, not a big guy, small in stature. Fishman, small in stature. But these guys, Taylor calls himself a preeminent equine lawyer in his interviews with these magazines. Said he was cleared by the government, cleared by everybody. No, he wasn't cleared by anybody. I believe he's the unknown defendant. One of the descriptions of the unknown defendant. And the U.S. attorney and this whole court case was left open for regulators to come in and do their job. They can't. And you can't be an equine lawyer in all these administrative hearings and be part of the crime and to cover up the crime when you have a state license. And this next thing is more heartfelt for me. He created a division in the industry because, as the exhibits I have, the government could have taken this industry all the way down and abolished it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do so. They left it open for the regulators to get the information, to get the perpetrators, the biggest perpetrators, out of the sport. They did nothing. Nothing. Matter of fact, they didn't even request the exhibits till probably recently. So for him to sing a song that he didn't know, he knew. Because it goes all the way back to David Brooks. All Taylor did was continue the pattern. And they did a lot of business together. And they learned. And to have the epitome of success and that he has had, to make the mistakes that he says he didn't know anything about, excuse me, and to use his trainers to go ahead and force the exposure of Dylan Davis Shay, Peyton Odie, Mike Hall, Tactor, exposes partners Lazaro, Gold, Basson, all of them, to protect himself is wrong. And for these states to allow him to even practice law in administrative hearings when he's not even licensed in the state, when as a state licensee, you know that you're supposed to cooperate with investigations. He tried to pretend he wore a different hat, a lawyer's hat. No, he had to cover the crime. All the way, look at the Northern Virgin here. It all came out that they all lied. They all knew. It's all come out. But who's paid the price? Every horseman. Gorell, Hamiltonian Society, USTA. They've all paid the price. Because just like Morazavi said, those people that bully, threaten, intimidate, that's Howard Taylor. Always has been. But the shame that he's caused his family to bring in Ashley Taylor's name in a hearing in Kentucky.
Wait a minute. Please explain who Ashley Taylor is.
His daughter.
Okay.
To bring in, see, let me step back. Because I found so much overwhelming evidence, and because they used his invoices in government forfeiture,
right,
I just kept digging. There was a case in Kentucky on hidden ownership. And they have this tape from July 3rd of 24. And it's of Howard Taylor. And in that tape, he's saying the U.S. attorney, oh, he should have talked to her. These things were wrong. She was wrong. Doesn't make any sense. The U.S. attorney is going to be wrong and Howard Taylor is going to be right. In that hearing, or that tape of July 3rd, 2024.
This is Kentucky?
Yes.
Okay.
He throws his trainers under the bus.
Who are his trainers?
He throws Jamal Williams under the bus.
Okay.
And he throws Eckley even under the bus. Then he goes to a public hearing and things turn.
This is so that's before his review that we all saw, where
yes,
they told him, you know, you'll most certainly be denied should you not withdraw your application. And that's the same one where they approved Jamal Williams right before him.
Yes.
Okay. Now things are clear to me.
Now it comes real clear. Because in that hearing that you saw or you recorded or was on.
Everybody could see, but we snapped.
Yes, but everyone saw. That young man worked for him, lied for him, covered for him, and at the end of the day, had the courage to stand up to tell the truth. And he got his license. All right. But a preeminent equine lawyer with a racing license has destroyed everyone, because you can't believe in justice. You can't believe in administrative law. And the one thing you can't believe is Howard Taylor, because these exhibits are right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's people out there that still don't have a license because they say they dealt with red acid, the business with red acid. Howard Taylor was using red acid in his invoices all the way back to 2009. What makes it fair for Howard Taylor and doesn't make it fair for you and I, right? He could use that 1 of 5 morphine, synthetic morphine on JK, all you better. That ringside muscle. It's okay to go ahead for Howard Taylor to 10 pounds of thyroid. And he can claim he didn't know. But everybody knows that he represented numerous on their positives, always screamed contamination. In those hearing in Kentucky, he didn't know Taylor. They just go to lunch once in a while in Philadelphia. The federal exhibits say they showed they talk. All right. The federal exhibits show they were going to use Taylor to collect Ventriglio's bill. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. And they say defamation. I would be really concerned because maybe the only way to stop a guy like him is to give this whole exhibit file to every state that he's that pro-hacked in, or every state he's licensed in, and let the ethics board make the decisions. Because there weren't any cases, except for I think one in PA, where it was revealed that he had a conflict. And he had a conflict because he holds a state license. It's supposed to be held to the same standard that you, I, or the next John Doe is. But if they need to ask, or if Taylor needs to find out, or if he's having trouble, GX 9016, Exhibit 16,000, the Who Got reports, Exhibit 1800, Exhibit 701, the Kentucky tape, July 3rd, 2024, GX 3461, Who Owns Spider Blue Chip and Pay Your Bill for over 10 grand, GX 320, GX 511. All those are exhibits surrounding Howard Taylor. And maybe on the next show, or if there is another show for you, Mike, I'll give you the other ones because there's more. The one thing that I think that all the industry leaders can say, bring them all together. He could have owned it. Instead of embarrassing his family, his trainers, his partners, his friends, could have owned it. But his personality is too much like Fishman's, too much like David Brooks. Couldn't own anything. And I do believe the reason he claimed that about his defamation and about the EPO, I do believe that his partners on horses, Pontone, Ford had that EPO positive that still sits in Jersey they didn't do anything about. They have to cover the crime. Pontone bought BB3 on the same horse that Howard Taylor did because they were partners. Everybody covered for one man. And the commissions didn't do anything. So maybe if you could flip open just that 1 year, and there's like 4 or 5 more years. Or flip open that Exhibit 701 And when you look at that, you'll understand. Because it has how much they spent for that year. And as everybody's aware, the forfeiture went to the lower courts for remand because they weren't going to pay the commissions. Commissions are already getting paid to do a job. So maybe they'll go through that, figure it out. But the bottom line, when you're a regulatory agency, you don't cover the crimes. When you know the crimes are there, you can't. When you're a lawyer, this is inexcusable actions when he has the evidence in his hands. And you'll see the division of the sport. The people he represented, the people he trains for, the people whose exhibits are as grave as his. And you'll see that same group of attorneys time after time stepping up. It's wrong. And for every little guy out there, give Mike a call, give him your phone number, because there's 3 or 4 attorneys that are very interested in pursuing class action. Because, see, it's just like Lance Armstrong. No one ever caught him. He never tested positive. But he purchased the drugs and he used the drugs. What was he doing with thousands and thousands of purchases? The only thing I can say, they weren't souvenirs because he names them. All those clients were named, and the clients, they were the horses. He names them all and what horses they were used for. 5,000 pages and an additional 20. I don't think Taylor, USTA, the commissions want an additional 20,000 pages worth of invoices. Because it'll take this industry to its knees.
I'm looking right now at that, and I'm just looking at the locals around here because this is kind of ground zero for the criminals that use this garbage. And I'm looking up names of people specifically that was stabled at Bankers, Ford's, Golden Shoe, and they all are the top buyers.
100%.
Now, and
volumes.
And it's not just what they spent. I also look at Howard Taylor, 97 invoices with Equistology, and this is what year is this?
That's just 16, so I'll send you the others.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the hot years were the closer you got to 2020, the worse it got.
Yeah.
But
look, how much did he spend that year?
Well, I don't think this is the big year because this is 18,000 and change. I want to see the years he was that we have the invoices that match the big what the hell is it? 1 at 5, EQ 1 at 5, BB3, TB7. You know that.
Well, if you look at those, Mike, like flip back there, look at Lazaro. How much did he spend?
I'm just seeing as I'm scrolling, names are catching me.
Yeah, but just look at Lazaro because that was his partners on those horses. I think when you add up the partners, it's $100,000 worth of drugs.
Yeah, well, Tom Lazaro is 91 invoices and another $20,000.
Dylan Davis. It doesn't take long to add up.
I'd like to see the 2019 or 2018, 2019 that matches the invoices that we've, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It's all there.
Oh, my God. This guy's here from Historic Track. I'm looking out the window. I see the grandstand, and they're all right there, literally. I see Dill, Jingles. Fucking it. I actually cursed. See, this is when I start to become me again, and I just, I'm not saying that they bought the bad stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But things that, once you say you're done, I've been writing down notes, and I want to address certain things. Like he calls himself an equine lawyer, right?
A preeminent.
A preeminent equine lawyer. Well, here's what
Yes.
my opinion of that is. No, you're not. An equine lawyer advocates for people in the equine industry and the fucking animals themselves. You're not an equine lawyer. You are representing the bad guys. Okay?
Well,
You're a defense lawyer.
well, Mike, somebody's got to do it. But guess what? He belongs in the same chair they do. I mean,
well,
that article in the magazine, maybe it was DRF, an owner's profile.
I remember.
He says
with
that
Givner.
Renee Allard bought in bulk. Well, so did you, Howard Taylor.
Well, that's the point that here I'm trying, and this is where I want to segue into what's happening in the defamation case with Garrell. Now, you stipulated confidentiality order. So, and then also before that, plaintiffs reply in further support of their motion to compel anything that may expose all this, which is public knowledge, is what I want to skip through all this fucking bullshit and just say anyone can go on Pacer, create an account, search the cases and the files, and download everything that I have here, everything I wrote down, like my subpoena, when they subpoenaed me to turn over the evidence that I have that's available to the public, right?
Yeah.
And then asking me where I obtained it. Well, I can tell you where I didn't, where they kept pushing me, and is one of the I don't know if it was a paralegal. So what I'm saying is the answer. No, I don't work for Jeff Garrell. No, I don't. I have not obtained anything from Jeff Garrell. You're barking up the wrong tree, because up until just a couple of months ago, he was on my list of fuck yous for reasons that everybody already knew. I said, you better do your research a little better. I said, because I am not in bed with any of these guys. I'm sick and tired. Let me finish this. I am sick and tired of guys like the little guys who just race their horses, take care of their horses, whether it's him, one person, anybody, families, whatever, that just have a barn full or a barn of horses, 1 horse, 10 horses, 20 horses, and don't stand a goddamn chance against these motherfuckers. Okay?
Well, Mike, there you're 100% right, because you know
and what? Even worse, the commissions come down harder on us. USTA will take it out on us, people who haven't done anything to the industry or to the animals or to the public or to our owners or to anyone. That's what I'm trying to get at here, and I think people need to wake up.
Well, Mike, in their defense,
who's their defense? Who?
Their retribution's terrible. But I will say, right now, you're seeing fashion farms under this partnership dissolving, this guy in bankruptcy, this trainer's in bankruptcy. They need the middle class. They need the working class. And that working class is getting tired of not being able to feed their families. Well, the cost of people like Howard Taylor, the cost of the synthetic morphines, or the cost of the emotional trauma. The emotional trauma watching the horses drop dead or can't feed their kid.
Well, I want to back up. I want to back up again. It's the retribution, yes. And I understand why people are silent, but we all know what's going on. We all have, I printed a bunch of this shit out this morning regarding the Taylor thing. I'm sorry, the Garrell thing, where I'm not an attorney, but judging by what I know, I cannot see any court of law finding Jeff Garrell guilty of defaming this guy when it's all right here.
I just don't think that, you know what I really think? I think Taylor thought his lawyers were stupid and that he was the only one that knew racing law.
Well, wait.
Create his own scenario.
Let me explain something to you again. You just said it, racing law. And I noticed what I saw this, and I'll say it again. Someone came at me on Horseplop saying, you don't know what you're talking about. He's been cleared by the FBI. Literally his exact words. Okay.
And that's what Howard said.
Exactly, which leads me to believe that this new name is maybe close to him, but neither here nor there. My point is, what does, if that's his defense, just because you were cleared criminally, if he was, but let's, for the sake of argument, yes, the FBI said, give us this, and this, and that, whatever. Okay. Cleared by the FBI, meaning they didn't pursue him. Can I say that at least? Because they haven't, right? So, but that doesn't mean you're not guilty of breaking God knows how many rules within the industry on the state levels, and whether it be commissions when it comes to the use of PEDs or altering the outcome of races, or you can't say that Jeff Gillis, right? He's out for 10 years for the same thing. Am I 100%. Wrong? So why does it?
Great, Mike.
What is it? Why does it stop there?
Open for state prosecutions and for these regulators to get the exhibits, to do something.
Well, they've literally acted on, let's just say it for what it is. AGCO acted on my YouTube video.
Yes.
Period. That's all they needed. Then they obtained the actual the document. It's the documents and the wiretaps themselves, and they acted. That's it. Now it's put. What are we? How many months later is it now? 8 months, 7 months? I don't even remember. And what's really been done by each state commission, and I'm just going to say it again because it makes me furious. The useless TA who have acted on others, okay, for very similar issues, I'll just say it like that, okay, are out without any right to a hearing and or appeal. Section 1, Article 4, detrimental to harness racing. Am I right?
That is true.
You're out. And now you can't get licensed anywhere else other than Maine, or where are they going to? Why hasn't Russell Useless Williams? I don't want to hear about the way it works. His SRIF, his executive board, the people that are on these invoices who are also members of the board. Why hasn't there been any movement by the USTA to just say, okay, same thing. AGCO did it. Am I right? AGCO and Standardbred Canada are literally the Canadian versions of USTA. Is that safe to assume?
Their laws are run more or less by government. It's not like a record keeping agency.
But why does everybody stop short of saying that the USTA can actually, for the first time in their new existence of thinking they say they're not the police, they shouldn't, but they've already acted as it. Okay. He's created a subdivision of USTA. This is SRIF that has the right to go in and investigate and penalize. Right?
Yeah, but I think those records will become very useful in the immediate future.
Okay. And just the other day, I was able to post something regarding Mr. Taylor from Delaware. Again, before the USTA, they had to be pushed to making the correction on what led to him getting reinstated in Indiana, which I believe they jumped the gun because he's still not able to obtain a license in Delaware.
Pending his appeal.
Huh?
Pending his appeal.
Okay, but you're still denied.
That's right.
Pending his appeal would be he had a license, and then they pulled it from him, and then Indiana acted in reciprocity, and then pending in a stay and or appeal, which there's a difference between the two. He's been granted the right to appeal for a review to go over should he be approved for a license in the state of Delaware, but they didn't pull a license away from him and then he appeals it on a stay and they pending appeal, he's able to race again. No, it's clear what was her name? Beverly Smith? Is that her name? The chairperson.
The ruling says that his license expired. They denied him.
They denied him the license up
when it was reapplication, so that denial is still there.
Right, and
they clear about going to issue him a temporary license.
Right, it's clear as a bell, and that was by the chairperson, not the other guy, executive director Suing, who made the initial refusal to license him.
Yeah, but my point to you, Mike, and the reason I came on again, all of those Taylor exhibits, they're in the federal courts. He's a preeminent equine lawyer. Go get him. Put him in for your record. And let the record speak for itself. But what he did in New Jersey, knowing the truth, is inexcusable. And it's hard pressed that two people like David Brooks, Howard Taylor, could take this industry to where it is today. The only difference between Brooks now and Howard Taylor is Brooks is dead. All right. But he rose back to life in this same trial on Fishman. Who came about using Fishman at the same time? Howard Taylor. So when he wants to divide an industry, talk about he's cleared by the FBI, in my own opinion, Howard Taylor is that unknown defendant who should be sitting there right beside Renee Allard because he purchased him. His checks show he purchased him. And when you're a preeminent equine lawyer in all these administrative hearings, you know it's against the law to give a synthetic morphine. You know EQ 105. You know those directions to give on race day. And who the hell is he to make arrangements with Lisa Gianelli to get this crap for Tom Shea?
Well, that right there shows you, what do they call, what's the word for that? Conspiracy.
A co-conspirator.
Yeah. That you're now acting as an agent for Seth Fishman.
There you go.
A fucking licensed attorney. And again, I got to address this. Give me the second to address this. The people that keep saying, oh, it started last year. You got a vendetta against these guys. Well, this all did start with what happened over here when I don't give a shit what anybody says. I've never done a goddamn thing wrong in this industry. Don't cough into the phone. And I'm out, thrown out of here, which snowballed into everything else. And I finally said, screw it. But all of that led to this. So first it was I had a vendetta against, well, that was the motivation that started all this, obviously. And I look back and I thank this clown over here who said, I was harassing them via social media over complaining about the ice because I was concerned about my fucking horses, period. And my owner, who was with me when we came back from the Meadowlands and we drove, and I'm like, holy shit. It's just, there's no, as a horseman, who cares? And that's what I was punished for. But is it personal? No. It came up again the other day. You have a vendetta. The same guy that said the thing said cleared by the FBI. You obviously have a vendetta. I wouldn't have known Howard Taylor had I fallen over him at a paddock somewhere. Okay. I have no vendetta against any of these guys personally, other than what I know, which is what I've been able to learn over the past pushing 3 years now of what's been going on in harness racing. And then she's gone. And then what the results of what happened with the federal indictments and then trials and convictions, and seeing guys that were the you there?
Yeah, I think you disconnected.
No, you were doing something with your phone. I could hear it. So anyway, just hang on. I'm on a roll. And then I started to learn through speaking to other people, Alice, just how deep this really went. And that's what got me into this. And I started to dig, and I was able to learn through you how to go to Pacer and start researching all this. And I was just disgusted and blown away because a lot of these people I knew very well. Some of them I was actually close friends with, like Ross Cohen. When I say Ross Cohen, I mean friends with the kid, Ross Cohen, who we used to be here in the 90s, a bunch of dummies, thinking we're going to take over the world in harness racing, whatever. But I went one way, they went another. And then I'd hear these stories. What I'm angry at is that decent people don't stand a chance. These people are supported and heralded as great men in harness racing. And the governing bodies and the policing bodies do nothing. Absolutely nothing. And am I to understand now by going what I couldn't find it. But I would imagine we're leading up to at least some kind of hearings and or trial between Garral and Taylor. That's got to be imminent. Am I right? For them
I
to
think
be
sometime in January or something. I think they'll talk beforehand. But you know, Mike, even when you read that on Eastern District there in PA, this trial against him, when you're using your mother, Judith Taylor.
or still, I got to say this. Or let me just say it this way. This is my playground. Or your dead wife who can't testify that, like he did in front of the Kentucky gaming board.
Yeah.
How do you even say that? And with his hands and laughing. Oh, I'll never forget. The price of a Meprazole. I still can't believe that.
There's called a moral conscience, and they really don't have one. Speaking of moral conscience, how do you stand up in an administrative hearing in New Jersey and lie through your teeth and you know the truth? And the consequences people paid were severe. I'm sure that a Nick Zurich would have rather owned it than be in the penitentiary. I'm sure a Rebecca Link, her name was never brought up in that Jersey administrative hearing. But when you read the hearing transcripts, they were looking for that horse for the EPO to do out of competition testing. And in the federal case, it all came out who was involved. It all came out. To destroy the lives of other people because you can, because you're a preeminent equine lawyer, because you followed with data books. Look at Vaquero. He lost his law license.
Yeah. Well, here, I think we're starting to go backwards again. We need to go forward. What I want to say is, yes, you're right. Okay. We've beaten that to death, and it's led us to here, and it's led us to action or lack of action. I want to go even further and say, yes, Howard is getting a lot of attention because of who he is. All right.
Yeah.
He's a familiar name, incredibly successful. Again, before all this, if I'd walk past him in a paddock and whatever, I'd be like everybody is. Hey, how you doing? Whatever. Or if I'd gotten to know him through somebody else, I would have no opinion other than guy does pretty good. He's got money. He seems like he loves to win, because I will say this. I can tell by just the look in his face and a lot of the pictures online that he is a guy that genuinely loves to win, and he loves and God bless him. That's the idea, right? But we didn't know about this. Okay. But my point again, moving forward, is it doesn't stop here. We keep focusing on certain individuals again because it's familiar. It's kind of like their household names in the harness racing world. Okay. But it should be across the board. And I think the biggest co-conspirators are the people that aren't enforcing the rules. It's already been established that, they want the same people that, like he's saying that I was cleared by the FBI, but they've also set the precedent that the people that went away, right, have never gotten a positive for any of this stuff.
That's right.
Am I friggin' out of my mind here? So he's admitting by the precedent and the way that those convictions and penalties were carried out, not one of them ever tested positive for anything that they purchased. And they've been sent to prison. Am I wrong here? So my question is,
a few of them have tested positive, but just like the federal transcripts say, if you're going to test positive, it'll come up as ACE, dexamethasone,
right? But it's not been BB3, the mimetic peptide, or EQ at 1 at 5, the mimetic peptide. All right.
That's right.
They went away just under you purchased it with the intent to use it.
That's right.
Okay. So here's where I want to go one step further. People are guilty of condoning this and allowing it to happen.